Are you listening? Damn.
Hello friends, I'm Lucas with Blackhouse Vapor Company, and this is our Alpine RDTA by Syntheticloud review video. Now this, right here, is the Alpine broken down into its basic parts. You've got your deck and tank section, your top airflow, top down, and your drip tip, which is going to control your top down airflow right here. It's going to feed through down there, and this is your barrel section. So this snaps on right here. And then on your deck, you've got your Kennedy style airflow, wicking holes, and your fill port. That's one of my favorite features about the Alpine RDTA, is that super convenient fill port right in the center. None of that side fill port business. It's annoying. So that's the Alpine all put together. We're going to get into an install and wicking, basically a tutorial to show you how I do it. Building is subjective, everyone does it a little differently. This is the way I've found to be the most effective. It's not the most convenient, but it's the most thorough way to build and wick this thing. Also, just some specs about the Alpine. It's 24 millimeters. The tank section holds 3 milliliters of juice. Like I said, you've got the Kennedy style airflow that comes from underneath the coil, and then your airless light, which Syntheticloud, that was their RDA that was super popular before, had that top down airflow. So it's got two forms of airflow, which is pretty handy dandy. 24 karat plated connections, so everything's super conductive and good for vaping. It works well, and I like it a whole lot. Okay, so let's get into the install, yeah? When I am installing and wicking my Alpine RDTA, I take this glass section off of the base. This makes it a little bit easier for wicking, because your wicks feed through these holes down into your glass section. Once I've got that off, I throw it on my 521. This makes it a little bit easier, keeps it stationary. Given that I use a mechanical mod, I can't really hold it and build on it. I mean, I can, but I prefer not to. What we're going to be installing here is some 24 gauge fused Claptons. I found that they work almost the best for this. I mean, the Alpine has a pretty big deck on it, so you've got quite a bit of room to put whatever you want in there. I put frame staples in here, I've put helix staples, all sorts of different stuff that all fits. So you've got your posts, it's a Phillips, and the way I install my coils, everybody does it a little bit differently. I take it, I pop it in there, I put the screwdriver in through it to keep it kind of centered, and then I take my wire cutters while keeping this stationary. I forgot to do this. I clip the leads and the nichrome. This way I've got an idea of how long my leads need to be for both of my coils. So I'll take my other coil, slide it onto the same screwdriver, and then clip them all the same length. This makes it easier so I don't have to do it afterwards and kind of get underneath the coil that's already installed, if that makes sense, because working around an already installed coil can be kind of tricky sometimes. So now I'll pop them through the post holes like so. The first one, and it just kind of seats itself in there for the most part. So now I've got the one in there, one coil installed already. Make sure your posts are all the way open. Take your second coil, same thing, just install it, leads through the post holes, and I just kind of push them both together. I know it looks a little janky right now for the moment, but once I've got them in there, go ahead and tighten down that side, and now this side. Once I've got them snug, what I'll do is I'll insert the same screwdriver I used to wrap my coils, and I'll pull it out and kind of move it around, get it to where I want it to be, which is centered and far enough out from the center post where it's not touching, because if you've got your coils touching that center, that fill port, it's going to short. If you've got it touching the outer barrel, they're going to short there as well, and those are both no-nos. You don't want to do that. You'll have a bad time if you do that. So now I've got my leads all clipped, everything nice. Once you kind of move your coils around, the screws tend to back out a little bit. And that's with every RDA, RDTA, rebuilding. It's just kind of one of those things that comes with building. Once you fix your coils, you're gonna have to tighten them back up again. The wonders of this 521 tab is that you can pulse your coils on here as opposed to on your device, which can be kind of a pain in the ass, really, when you're using the mechanical mod at least. Plus this is a little bit safer. So what I'm gonna do here is pulse. I'm not gonna hold it down for very long, just a few seconds at a time, and get that nichrome kind of worked in and softening up a little bit. And I'm strumming and pinching. The end goal is to have them, both of your coils, heating from the inside out at the same rate. You don't want one heating up faster than the other. That's kind of just building 101. So if you're familiar, you already know that. And then give it a second to cool off. Now that I've got them here and installed and my placement is good, they're glowing evenly from the inside out, we're ready to wick. Wicking is the hardest part for a lot of people with RDTAs. The thing is, if you, similar to an RTA, if you wick it too loose, it'll leak on you. You wick it too tight, you'll get dry hits. One of the good things about the Alpine is with that center fill port, you've got this, pop this out real quick, that little guy right there, that's gonna plug your center fill port, so that if you vape kind of tilted at any sort of angle, this is gonna help not leak on you, and I've never had it leak on me. So, there's that, another fun feature. We're ready for wicking. So, for wicking on, when you wrap your coils around a 3mm bit, for this guy, I cut about 1 centimeter of Japanese cotton pads. I prefer the pads because I can measure them. I don't like using the bacon because I can't really feel how much I'm using. Everyone's different. Some people only use cotton bacon. I only really use the pads. It's all subjective. Pretty standard, just tease one end a little bit, keep the other end straight. It's one big thing about wicking. If the fibers in the cotton aren't going straight, it doesn't wick as well and your flavor's not as good. So, what I'm going to do is thread through. I kind of twist as I'm pushing it in. Tends to help it go through a little bit easier. Once I've got it right about there, just use my ceramics, grab it, and then keep this end straight as I'm pulling it. You want it snug, but not too snug. How much you cut is a little bit deceiving for the Alpine. Given that it's an RDTA, you're wicking through these holes that are down here, just underneath. You can't really see them right now, but since you're wicking through there and then you want them resting just above the base of the tank, you don't want them sitting on the base or bent up at all. It's capillary action, so you want your juice to be able to flow up, and e-juice is pretty thick, so you know. You want to cut right about there. Boop. On both sides, like So, okay, now once you've got all your wicks cut the same length, what I do is I tease each end just a little bit, because the way I wick it is a little bit different from how most people I've seen wick. What I do is I then take it off. So I've got it down here. I grab these handy dandy little tweezers that have the curve on them. What I do is I pinch one end like this. I bring it up and I put it through that hole. Once you can see it poking out that bottom right there, get in there, grab it, pull it through. You want to keep everything as straight as possible. If it gets all twisted up, basically it works like kind of like a kink in a hose. You're not going to wick efficiently enough. So again, pinch it with that tweezer, push it down through there, find the base, find the end of the cotton, pull it through, keep it straight, and repeat. So then I can take my glass section, screw it on, make sure everything's still how it should be, with the ends of the cotton resting just above the base of the tank. So what you want to do is grab either your smallest screwdriver, which tends to be about 1 millimeter or like 1.5, or an Allen key like this. And what you want to do is poke a little hole in the corner of that wicking hole for each of them. And what this does is it allows a little bit of air to get down in there, help your juice come up and wick efficiently. This is pretty standard for RDTAs. So now that is wicked and good to go, what we'll do is we'll throw it on our device, which today is a Rig V3 18650 mechanical mod. So now that we've got everything wicked and situated, our coils are burning evenly and nice, we've got a little hole pushed through on each of our wicking holes, we're ready to juice up. So we're juicing using our House Misfit, filling straight into that bottom fill port. So what I'll do is I'll fill that tank up first and then get everything wet on the top. So now once we've got everything wet, we'll do a fire here just to kind of get everything worked in. A little more juice on there just to kind of kick start that wicking. A little more firing. Ooh, that's nice. Huh? Pretty sweet. Take our top cap, line up that bottom airflow. I keep the top airflow all the way open and the bottom airflow all the way open. I use my Alpine probably about twice a week out of my 4 different kind of go-to atomizers, RDAs, RDTAs, all that stuff. It's definitely in my rotation since I trick a lot. I like having an RDTA so I don't have to stop and drip. That 3 mil tank capacity really helps out. Flavor's good, airflow's good, no leaking. As long as you wick it correctly, everything works fine. And it looks gorgeous in black and gold. Another fun fact, if you want that direct side airflow, which you might miss, some people like it, some people don't, you can actually fit a goon cap with a chubby 24 millimeter chuff cap right over, and you'll get that direct side airflow. Which this is how I use it, like this about half the time, and it matches a little bit better with my setup right now. Well, thanks for watching our video on the Alpine RDTA. Again, I'm Lucas, Blackhouse. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for watching. Finger guns all the way. Oh God, I hate myself.